2:23 a.m. The cold wind of the Rocky Mountains howled through the pine trees, rushed over the jagged cliffs, and slammed against the tall windows of the Banff Springs Hotel. The glass panes shivered under the pressure, and the rustling of the dry trees blended with the sound, echoing through the empty corridors of the stone fortress. The silence of the hotel was deep and thick at that hour of night, but the 8th floor always had a different air. Moonlight spilled through the tall windows, lighting the hallway on the 8th floor. But something was wrong with the light. It felt heavier near the end of the corridor, as if the shadows there were thicker and the air colder. Exactly where, today, there is only a smooth wall. A wall that hides something, or someone. But the story of this wall began many years ago. In 1926, the Graves family, Thomas, his wife Margaret, and their 2 young daughters, Rose and Annabelle, had taken a luxury train from Vancouver to Alberta. Thomas was a retired Canadian Army officer, a survivor of World War I. But he had not returned the same man who had left. He had served in the trenches of France, in places where the sky rained fire every night, and each breath could be your last. When he returned, Thomas was hollow. His eyes were empty, his smile forced, and his nights filled with screaming, smoke, and blood. Margaret, kind and gentle, tried to hold the family together. Doctors said a change of air might help. The Banff Springs Hotel, with its grand Gothic architecture, nestled in the mountain forests of Alberta, seemed like a dream. The room they were given, room 873, was one of the largest on the 8th floor. 2 beds, a grand fireplace, a full-length mirror across from the main bed, and a window that overlooked the Bow River. But the very first night, the air felt wrong. Thomas didn't sleep. He paced the room, stood in front of the mirror for hours, unmoving. Margaret thought it was war trauma, but their youngest daughter, Annabelle, said something chilling. "Daddy became too. I saw him come out of the mirror." The next day, footsteps were heard at night. Guests in nearby rooms complained. Staff investigated. Thomas answered the door calmly, but coldly. "I'm training, I must be ready." Margaret, in her journal later found in the room's safe, wrote, "Thomas is no longer Thomas. Last night, he spoke to someone. But he was alone. He said if we want to be saved, we must be made pure. I don't know what that means." By the 4th night, something snapped. Staff reported seeing Rose crying in the lobby, saying her father had shouted all night and broken the mirror. When they checked, the mirror was cracked, but Thomas was calm, smiling strangely. That night, the daughters refused to sleep in the room. They said a man had come from inside the mirror and stood beside their bed. The 5th night, a scream pierced the entire hotel. It shook the 8th floor. Then, silence. Staff rushed up. Room 873 was locked. No one responded, but one maid swore she heard whispers from behind the door. Something saying, "They are pure now." The next morning, police broke the door down. What they found inside became one of Alberta's darkest files for decades. Margaret's body lay on the floor, her throat slit, one hand reaching toward the window. On the bed, 2 small bodies. One smothered with a pillow, the other with her skull shattered. And on the mirror, written in blood, Blood is the only way to cleanse. But Thomas was nowhere to be found. The windows were locked, the door had been secured from the inside. No footprints, no escape route. Even the ventilation was searched. Nothing. No body. No trace. Nothing but silence. The hotel quickly covered it up. The bodies were quietly removed. The room remained closed for some time, but then, strange things started happening. Guests in adjacent rooms reported hearing crying at night, or soft knocks on the walls. Staff said they sometimes saw a shadow at the end of the hallway. One maid, who later quit, said she once saw a little girl in a white dress, her feet bloody, standing at the hallway's end, staring at the wall. When she called out, the girl turned and whispered, "Daddy's still there. They just can't see the door." Eventually, in 1932, hotel management made a final decision. They ordered the entrance to room 873 to be bricked up, sealed forever. Workers came and built a solid wall where the door had once been. Everything went smoothly, but the night the final layer of plaster dried, the 8th floor lights flickered 3 times, and a deep groan echoed through the corridor. One of the workers would later write, "As soon as we sealed the last brick, the air changed. It got colder, much colder, and I swear, something was breathing behind that wall." Today, there is no room 873 in the hotel. Go to the 8th floor, and you'll notice the odd numbering. Room 871, then 875, and between them, a cold, smooth stone wall. No door, no plaque, but those who sleep on that floor still report strange things. Whispers late at night, a little girl crying, footsteps where no one is walking, and those who dare to press their ear against that wall say they've heard a voice, faint and cold, whispering, "Find the door. Come in, my family is waiting." And those who hear it, some say they never sleep the same again.
Don't forget, like and subscribe for more stories. And don't be a spellbound.